I know when you talk about reunification therapy being 4 days, do you see that there is a trajectory that goes like this, or do children backslide during the therapy and or after?
Well, in my way of doing it, I just let them keep doing the same thing until they feel finished. So I don't push my agenda. So, for example, the very first part of the therapy, after they've greeted each other and maybe they've shared photographs or talked about their lives, what's happening today, then we start taking, or I do, I write a list. They give me the list of every single complaint they have about this parent and what they've accused this parent of. And we go through every single one and we talk about it until there's nothing to say about it. And they've come to some kind of agreement. So you can see that has to finish that process before we can move on to the next process, which is learning about memory, because often kids will say, I saw my dad hitting my mom in this situation. Well, how old were you when this happened? Three and a half. Three and a half. You remember this? And then I do this memory game with them, which shows that even adults don't remember things from 1 minute to the next. So how could children remember it, from three and a half? It just doesn't happen. And so we go through that and we talk about being brainwashed and all that, like with Guyana, and give them examples. Drinking the Kool-Aid is what they love, that expression. So you know, there's a lot of it that's fun and they love to talk about and they know a lot about. And there's some of it that's hard for both the parents and the children. And then when we bring the grandparents and extended family in, it's even harder.
I'm glad that you said something about memory. As a private investigator, when I would get cases and I would see the date of the incident, because remember, investigators, we get a crime and then we have to go back and figure out how it got to that place. So we have to
Mhm.
start interviewing people, neighbors, coworkers, whatever. And what we always say in PI speak is memories fade. So just for sake for the audience, let's just say a car accident.
Yeah.
If I had to investigate a car accident, which I didn't do, but let's say I did, and the accident happened in May, and I had to talk to witnesses, they would say, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I was at the corner of Jones Falls and East Street, and a blue." And it's detailed. And I was on my way home from work. It was 5 p.m. It was absolutely that time. And I was getting ready to go to Trader Joe's. And I saw a blue Volvo SUV S60 pull out and hit. Okay. If I see an accident date 2 years ago, this is the interview. I know it was good weather. It was either spring or fall. I'm not sure if I was coming home from work. My husband called and said, pick up some groceries. And I don't know if I went to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. It was one of them. See where I'm going with this? Memories fade. So
Mhm.
how in the heck can a 3.5-year-old, you're right, they don't remember anything, but how can they tell you with such detail?
Yeah. It's impossible. It's been
It's
put into
impossible.
their head. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I hear that with my clients, I go, wait a minute. As a
Mhm.
PI, I'm going to tell you memories fade, right? And we just know that when we have to investigate a case. And we're like, well, case is 8 years ago, or the case is 5 years ago, but we have to interview.
Mhm.
It gets really sticky and the evidence starts to it's tarnished. It's just hard. So yeah, a
Exactly.
14-year-old who's telling you about something 3.5 years when they were 3 and a half.
Yeah.
Or in their crib. I like that one. I've heard that one too.
Yeah.
I was in my crib.
Yes. And were you sleeping or, which room were you in? Well, it's down the hallway,
I mean, we
Yeah.
laugh about it, but it's absurd.
It
It's
is.